Meantime, energy drinks. They are a staple for a lot of people who say they need them just to make it through the day. In a survey of nearly 500 college students, 51% reported consuming at least one during the last month. Of those, 29% reported weekly jolt and crash episodes. We'll explain that. 19% reported heart palpitations, and some even called poison control because of caffeine overdoses. Dr. Vandanya Bide is a local doctor certified in internal med and pediatrics, here to talk about what the big deal is with these drinks. Good morning to you.
Thank you for having me today, Stacy.
These have a ton of caffeine in them, not just but sugar. So they're not just fattening, but they are potentially dangerous. Tell us why.
Right. Well, the Food and Drug Administration does not regulate the caffeine content in energy drinks because they're considered food supplements. So, for example, in our cola here, this is regulated. This has about 35 milligrams of caffeine.
So when you say regulated, what does that mean? That if it exceeded a certain amount, they would be forced to reduce it?
Right. So there's no more than 70 milligrams of caffeine that's allowed in a 12-ounce can of any kind of soft drink.
Okay.
So this one has 35 milligrams, and it has the amount of sugar that's equivalent to 2 of those slices of cheesecake.
No, but when you look at it that way, wouldn't that get a lot of people to stop drinking it?
Right.
Okay, this Red Bull right here?
Exactly. So this is one of the earliest energy drinks that was on the market. And again, these are promoted as sort of enhancing endurance, improving performance, promoting an active lifestyle. And it's mainly because of the caffeine and sugar content.
And this is the equivalent of three
cans of cola and 2 slices of cheesecake. So the sugar content here, and then the caffeine content of the colas. And then here we have another popular energy drink, which has the equivalent of 5 cans of cola and 3 slices of cheesecake. So you can make your choices.
And then let's go to this
This is the big one, right? This is the monster. And this has the equivalent of 7 cans of cola and 4 slices of cheesecake.
So
it's really surprising. And if you look, for example, a lot of these don't even tell you what the caffeine content is. I had to call some of the manufacturers and look for the amount.
It doesn't actually say right here on the back.
No, it does not. Some of them do, but this one doesn't. And the problem, of course, is there's other items, things like guarana, other stimulants that actually are a form of caffeine.
But those are always marketed kind of as a natural product to boost your energy, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But they're primarily through caffeine. And then there's other kinds of energy blends, ginseng and other items that are felt, although they're not proven, to increase energy.
Let's talk about what some of these people in this survey talked about. Weekly jolt and crash episodes. What does that mean?
Sure. Well, I think throughout the day, at least one time they will have a certain amount of drinks, so 3, 4, although they're only meant to have, one of these or half a can of these, they're drinking 3, 4, often mixing them with alcohol. And so, of course, that's very, it's very dangerous. And what happens is that, especially when you mix them with alcohol, a lot of college students are doing that, is that because the alcohol is a depressant and the energy drink is a stimulant, they're not aware of how intoxicated they are. And so they'll drink more alcohol, and then, of course, they'll crash when all of that wears off.
And what does that do to the body? Is that kind of setting you up for diabetes later on down the road?
Sure. Well, the sugar content certainly is. I mean, and it leads to obesity, which, of course, leads to diabetes. But that up and down in the sugar content and the caffeine content will increase your heart rate, give you a sense of anxiety. So it's not necessarily that you feel calm and you're able to do your work, but you're actually more anxious because of the caffeine.
And let me ask you about people calling poison control. Can you OD on caffeine?
Yes, you can. And you can actually even have heart attacks, heart rhythm abnormalities. And so these are all things that have been documented in different poison control centers across the country.
Do you think the FDA will take over the dietary supplement market, at least when it comes to these energy drinks?
Well, as long as they're considered dietary supplements, they probably won't be regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. A lot of experts are saying that these are dangerous, that they're unregulated, that we don't know the caffeine and sugar content, and they should be taken off the market, or they should be considered a food so that they're regulated just like colas are.
So what do you advise people who drink these?
Be very careful, understand what you're getting, understand the amount of caffeine you're getting. And these primarily are promoted for teenagers and young adults. I would not recommend them for any children or teenagers because the amount of caffeine well exceeds what's safe, which is 100 milligrams for children. Mm-hmm. So be aware of what you're taking and make sure that you don't mix with alcohol.
All right, Dr. Vandana Bide here to talk about energy drinks and their potential danger to some people. Thank you so much, Dr. Bide.
Thank you for having me, Stacy.